Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm so happy that you stopped by. Click like and subscribe and the little bell if you'd like to hear future videos and be notified. Beverly Jaye Potter Mintz. This murder is unsolved as of this date. So, we're going to begin where the story starts, where her mother, Lorene Potter, ran from her daughter's blood-splattered bedroom in Leland, North Carolina on February 23rd of 1987. She had her grandson in her arms. He was 2 at the time. "Mean man hurt mommy. Mommy cry," he said when she scooped him up and fled through the rear door. Potter later told her family he was just a day shy of his 2nd birthday. Potter ran a florist shop next door. The florist called 911, and before long, multiple patrol cruisers with the Brunswick County Sheriff's Office lined the driveway leading up to the village road of the home of the 23-year-old Beverly Jaye Potter Mintz. A forensics team and agents from the State Bureau of Investigations joined. "It was violent, it was brutal, and it was chaotic," Tony Cummins, a retired investigator with the State Bureau of Investigations, told the Huffington Post. Mintz's cousin Renee Braswell told the Huff last Monday that the murder was devastating for Potter. Not only did she lose her daughter, but she also witnessed the brutal aftermath left by her killer. "I can't explain how bad it was the day I found her." Can you imagine this? She stopped by Jay's house around 12 p.m. on her way back from town. She noticed that the door was unlocked, which was unusual. This would be Beverly. This would be her mother. She went inside and her grandson was whimpering in the back bedroom. She walked into the bedroom and that's where she found her daughter, a pillowcase over her head. She pulled the pillowcase off and everything from then on was a blur. A criminal investigation pursued. Her hands had been tied behind her back and a pillowcase covered her face. When her mom removed the pillowcase, she saw her daughter's throat had been cut so deep her head was nearly severed from the body. She had also been stabbed multiple times and raped. Investigators were puzzled from the start of the investigation. Leland is a suburb near Wilmington, and it's nestled along the bank of the Brunswick River. It's a mid-sized town with a small town charm, and the residents were terrified following Mintz's slaying. Gun sales, according to Sheriff John Carr Davis, increased by 300%. Everyone was baffled. We didn't have much crime in that town, and the child was so young he was unable to offer any details about who it was. One thing the child remembered was a knock at the door, and he told Jay to look out the peephole, and she didn't see anyone. Or he told authorities that Jay, which is Beverly, she must have went by her middle name, looked out the peephole, didn't see anyone, opened up the door, and the man immediately came in. It was a white man, and that is all he could say. The 4-year-old boy was visiting his grandmother at the time of the slaying. In the weeks that followed, investigators ruled out several people known to Mintz. Her ex-husband, a man she married in 83 and separated in 86, had a solid alibi. He was enlisted in the army and was stationed in Germany. The owner of a local restaurant whom she started dating had an alibi. He was at his house with a plumber. Others were also checked off the list one by one. No one knew her. It seemed that there was no really motive. She didn't have an enemy in the world. She had a heart of gold, and she was always nice to everyone and never said an unkind word. They found a clue, which was a classified ad that Mintz had recently placed in a weekly newspaper to sell a waterbed. At the time, the paper was giving away one free ad per customer per week. When the bed didn't sell the first week, she ran it a second, using her mother's phone numbers so she could again take advantage of the free ad offer. On the day of the murder, her mom called her at 9:30 and told her a man had called about the bed and would be stopping to look at it. Jay told her mom that it already sold to the mom's friend. They didn't have caller ID back then, so her mom told her when the person arrived, just tell him that it had been sold. And Jay said okay, and that was the last time her mom spoke to her. It was obvious that the person who committed the crime had taken steps to find information out about the victim that morning, the veteran detective said. "We feel like the person that inquired about the waterbed is the suspect." The killer brought a nylon rope used to blind the victim and a knife to kill her. Despite these actions, he does not believe the killer was methodical or that the slaying was well planned. There were some things that occurred that indicated at some point during the commission of the crime the suspect may have been in control of himself, but then at another point he was not. And the psychologist also took a look at, based on the evidence left at the scene. I believe that an individual was stalking her. The person was comfortable watching the house and going in. He knew there was not an adult male home, so he had to be watching. The newspaper ad could have been a ruse left at the scene to taunt investigators. Godwin's theory makes the most sense. She had started to receive strange calls every so often before she was killed, Broswell said. The calls always came after she got home, and the person would hang up, so there's another reason we think somebody was watching her. While the two men disagree on the killer's motive, they do not believe the killer was an experienced criminal who left Mintz's son alive because he was confident the child would not be able to identify him. The killer, both men said, also slid in and out of the home during a short window of opportunity without anyone taking notice. It's one of the things that stands out the most. The slaying happened during the day when her house was on a well-traveled road. There was a restaurant less than 1/10 of a mile east and a flower shop next door. There was a roofing crew working on the house across the street. How'd he get in, commit such a brutal crime, and be unseen and unknown? For 27 years, that question has plagued investigators. The murder not only shook the small town of Leland, but the entire community, said Sheriff John Ingram, who took office in 2008. Since that day, the investigation has gone through a series of ebb and flow. They've had several leads followed up that did not yield any results. Despite retiring from law enforcement, Cummings said he remains in contact with the investigators assigned to the case. While many years have passed since the slaying, it's possible, he said, for the case to be solved. You always hope for someone to come forward. This is not a sexual advance turned rejection turned anger turned murder, he said. It's a complex case that doesn't necessarily mean it's impossible to solve. Mintz's family remains hopeful that the crime will eventually be solved, and their wait becomes increasingly difficult with each passing year. The only thing that kept Jay's mom going as long as she did was her grandchildren. She adopted them and could look at them and see her daughter in their faces, and they were a blessing to her. But now she is gone, and it's up to us now to make sure the case stays in the spotlight. So this is the point where I turn to the tarot cards, and oh, look at that. Isn't that tragic? What a monster to do this to her. So the first thing I'm going to do is take out my tarot cards, and I always begin these murder mysteries with the Haunted House Tarot. So this is the Haunted House Tarot, and it doesn't matter how you shuffle the cards. You just, ask, and I always ask what happened, and I like to know right to where the cards think that I need to start this situation at. What happened to Beverly Jaye Potter Mintz? What happened to her? And this might take me before the murder. We just don't know. Stalking. Here we have the Seven of Swords. See the killer hiding? Watching her every move. The killer is hiding, watching her every move. Knew when she was home, knew when she was home, knew when she left. Now, I ignore the gender on here. I just look at what's going on here. If I specifically ask the cards for a gender, then at that point, I pay attention to the gender. So it looks like the killer mainly watched her whereabouts during the time that the timing of this, because the moon can be about timing, so that the timing of it was well planned in that way. So that piece of it we know. King of Cups. So this is where I do get the sense that this was a man. So this was a man who committed it. The King of Cups. Now we're just going to set this guy aside for now. We're going to set him aside. And I'm going to shuffle a little bit different way. I'm going to just cut the cards, and we're going to continue. I'm actually going to lay these down so you can see these. I'm just going to continue pulling another card. This is the Ace. This is the Ace of Wands, lighting the fire. Lighting a candle. this almost feels like this person had obsession or something. I'm going to pull another card because this one is interesting, because she's holding the candle and someone else is lighting the fire. And then we can always ask more specific questions as we go along. There's the house getting stalked. And yes, there was people all around. There was people all around while this house was being stalked. Oh, I feel like this is Beverly Jaye coming through, that she's confused as to why this happened. Let's go to a different deck. Push this one up. I'm going to go to a different deck, and I'm going to ask, well, first of all, I'm going to ask to profile the murderer. I kind of want a profile of this murderer. And so, actually, I'm going to pull from the dark mirror. What's the profile of the killer who killed her? What's the profile? Is this me? So this person had a personality disorder. This person could have had a personality. Definitely, there was a mental illness playing into this. Is this me? So this plays right in to where they investigated, like they thought at one point the killer had control, then he lost control. Yeah, this person had a serious mental disorder. So then it becomes difficult to ask what the motive was, but let's see if we can try to do it with the universal weight. What was the motive that this guy stalked and killed her? What was his motive? So he doesn't even know himself. So do you see the band going around the head? It's like I notice in this band going around the head. And do you notice how he's looking out? So he was stalking her, and yet all these wands he's not looking at. So I don't think he even knew why he wanted to kill her. So he just devised a plan. So here he is devising a plan. He was devising a plan to see if he could identify and do this. And he had some kind of obsession. He had some kind of attraction to her. This is the King of Cups. So there was some kind of an attraction there, all right? Like a love attraction, there was some kind of an attraction there with the Knight of Cups. Oh, this is weird. This is like the Church card. And they're saying, like, wait a minute. So what's your message? Hold up. What's the message? Hold up for what? The Queen. The Queen. Oh. Queen from Spirit. Is Jay. That's what she wanted to be called, I guess. I wonder if we can communicate with her. The Queen, she's coming in. Hold up a minute. The Queen wants to speak. Okay. What do you have to say, Jay? If you can come through the cards and give us some clarity. Jay, are you there, first of all? Are you there on the other side? Are you able to communicate with us? Okay, she's on the other side. She's a star. She's got peace. She goes, I'm with the stars. I'm at peace. She looks at peace. Okay, thank you. Do you know this person who murdered you? Do you know who they were? Do you know the person that murdered you? The Chariot, this is just her. She doesn't. She doesn't know them, but she feels like she feels like I did see them driving by. The chariot is a mode of transportation. And I feel like she's telling me, I saw them driving by. I just didn't think about it. Now, I feel like she's telling me their vehicle was red or had red in it. Red. The vehicle had red in it. And it had a special emblem. An emblem on the front of the car. Like most cars do. And I'm not sure why she's pointing to the emblem in the front of the car. I feel like she said it was a red colored car and it was slightly noisy. Like it had a slightly noisy muffler, maybe. A slightly noisy muffler. So she did notice a car driving by. She was aware of that. And she said he was a monster. He was an absolute monster. There was no talking to him. There was no reasoning with him. She did fight to the extent that she could, but he overpowered her. The monster overpowered me. And she said, with my little self, I couldn't, he had like superpower strength. It's like he went into rage and he had superpower strength. She wants to see him suffer. So see, she's looking at him. She wants to see him suffer. Jay, did he hang out in the liquor stores? Is this what you're trying to show me, the liquor stores? Did he, she's like, I think he had a drinking problem. Okay, so you think that he might have been hanging out in liquor stores? Is that what you're saying? Wow, look at this woman in this picture. If the camera will focus. Look at that woman. Now, look at her. Isn't that weird that the cards will do that to validate that this is her? And now she wants justice. She's looking at him. She wants justice served. And of course she does. Who wouldn't when she couldn't watch her boys be raised? So he blindfolded her and stabbed her, and now she's off the planet. And what are you trying to say to me? I'm off the planet, but I haven't lost my power. What is she talking about? She's showing me power. I'm off the planet, but I haven't lost my power. I don't know what that means. My power. What is your power? What is your power, Jay? What are you talking about? You haven't lost your power. Hand through the grave. I'm sending signs. I'm sending messages. Oh, they must have had a candlelight vigil or some kind of a vigil for her. Her hand is coming up. She's like, I survived, and I want to help put the monster in prison forever. So what detail can you give us, Jay? And I really hope that these cards have the symbols on it for me to interpret, because this is the only way I can talk to deceased is with the tarot cards. I am not a medium. They don't come into my head and speak. They have to impress upon me which card to pull, and I have to closely screen the cards. Now, this is where I love for my viewers to also jump in here, because you might say, Melanie, I noticed the dress here. I noticed a candle here. I noticed something, and when we work together, it's not just me trying to get clues on these. You guys I appreciate any input that you guys get, because you never know. Okay, Jay, what do you have to say? What do you have to say? She's like, they're still investigating this. There's a gavel down. Okay, let's all look at this card very carefully. In fact, to avoid distractions, let's just put this card out. Let's get these cards up. And let's look at this card. Someone is hanging up a picture. So someone has a picture of her for her memory. Somebody keeps a picture of her hung. She's fascinated that I'm using cards. Oh, the newspaper. The newspaper. Jay, are you showing a newspaper? So the guy that did it was the guy who read the ad in the newspaper. Because she's showing, Melanie, I'm communicating you with the tarot cards. She's holding the tarot cards. It's the guy that looked at the newspaper ad. Okay, are you Okay, where is he, Jay? Where is he now? The guy that held up the newspaper. Where is he right now? Can you tell us? What do you mean? You think he's dead? Or are you saying he killed you? He stabbed me. This is either he stabbed her to death or he is dead. So I have to ask my regular tarot cards and not communicate with her because she might not know if he's dead. She might, but she might not. So I'm going to grab my universal weight and say, is she just telling us more details that he stabbed her to death, or is the guy who did it now dead? So let me ask, is the guy who committed the murder, is the man who committed the murder, is he dead now? He's not doing well. This is sick. He's sick, meaning his health isn't good. He's not in good health. He's got a heart problem. Oh, that's a spirit card, though. That's the spirit card. But it doesn't necessarily mean, oh no, he's wounded. Okay. It's just, they're just showing me. Okay. So he's definitely wounded. He's either had a stroke, and he's definitely got heart trouble. So he is actively seeking out medical help, and this might be just that her coming through with that he stabbed. Do you know where he is right now? Do you know where this person is? Do you know where his physical location is on Earth right now? I don't know if she's gonna know this. This is yes. Oh. And there again, she's got her hand coming up from the grave to tell us where he is. Okay, she does know where he is. Where is he? Where is he? He's living with a woman. What's the clock on there for? Oh, he's bedridden. He's bedridden. Okay, so he actually can't even get around anymore. He's bedridden. Okay. I feel like this is what she's telling me. You guys can agree or disagree. Do you see like the bunch of houses in the background? I feel like he was from the community or near the community. He was either from the community or near the community. And he had a lot of burdens. I mean, she's carrying a bunch of things on her back. I think people knew that he wasn't stable. And I feel like she's wanting to tell me that something about the grandfather of her two children. I feel like she's kind of skipping out on this one and just talking about the grandfather with the two children. There's like an honoring feeling there, like an honoring feeling there. So he's. Oh, I feel like the killer is getting ready to pass off the planet. The killer's getting ready to pass off the planet. So what do you want to say about that, Jay? Yeah, it's completely out of his control right now. His health is completely out of his control right now. This is the hangman, and this is turning things around, like whatever you thought happened, like, turning it around, turning the situation around. So Jay, if he enters the afterlife, what will be so then, in your opinion? Oh, he is gonna die. Oh, he could be on his deathbed now, or he could be already dead, because this is like the card in the casket, and then we have the clock again. The clock. So are you wanting the people on Earth to still pursue this person and find this person? Are you wanting the people who are still alive down here to solve this, to find this person? So this is the page. Her children want it solved. Her children or child children want this solved. Knight of Swords, because they have a great deal of anger about their mother being stolen away from them. So they want this solved. And she's just like, they keep looking, they keep looking, they keep going back, and they keep looking. In your opinion, Jay, do you feel like the killer will be found? Do you think they're on to something, that the killer will be found? Do everything by the books. Go back to the books. Go back and research. He's opening up the books, looking at the details. She thinks somebody might have seen somebody, because if you had people working across the street in that, somebody might have noticed the car. She feels like somebody saw something, somebody knows something, or somebody saw something. I guess I'm going to say that. I'm going to go back to the regular tarot cards, and I'm going to thank her for coming through. And I'm going to say, I'm going to use my Robin Wood deck, and I'm going to say, what do we have to know about the killer? Can you give any details about the killer? What do we have to know about the killer in this case? So he was definitely watching. He's definitely watching. This person is above the world, though. Do you see the world and they're above it? And this is the wands, could be spirit. I wonder if that person is already dead. I'm just starting to wonder, based on the cards that are coming up. And there she is in spirit. And there he is in spirit. We're getting all these wands. You can't make this up. I wonder if what do you guys think? I mean, he's above the earth, right? Because obviously he's holding the earth in his hand. This is wands. These are the spirit deck. So he could be in spirit already. So, Jay, do you feel like justice has been done? Let's go back and talk to her again. Sorry, I got to call you back in. Do you feel like justice has been done in this case? I mean, if this killer is dead, do you feel like justice was done on the other side? Is that possible? This is going to be an interesting card. Oh my God, that's a card about him driving by and he's having a horror. If he is in spirit world, he's in hell, basically, because this is all storm clouds around here, and she won. She won. She goes, he might have murdered me, but I won. Oh, I wonder if that's why she said she still had her power. I wonder if she kicked his ass when he got over there. Jay, were you able to do something to this person? You wouldn't think that you could kick somebody's ass once you go to spirit world. What happened, Jay, that you feel like there was justice? What happened that you feel that there was justice? There she is in the spirit world, and he was a wounded soul. He was a wounded soul. So he's not with her. She went to a higher place. She evolved to a higher place, and he went to the place where the wounded people go. He went to a different place where the wounded people go, the wounded souls. They're not in the same place. So, he's definitely dead, the death card. She's definitely telling me he's dead. Oh my God, what weapon do you have? What are you holding? A sigh, and a huge sigh. And then she's looking at him like I was waiting for him to get to the other side. Okay, this is a twist that I'm not familiar with. What happened when he got to the other side? Or maybe she's waiting now for him to get to the other side. I am almost afraid to ask this because I don't think you can harm anyone once they're dead. But she said she had the power. This is a weapon. What is going on here? Because this is going beyond what my beliefs are. The Page of Cups. I want my children to know, that's the Page of Cups, the children, that I conquered, that I took care of it in spirit, that I took care of it from spirit. Remember, she showed this card, reaching up from spirit, I got this. Reaching up from spirit, I got this. And that they can move on with their lives. I feel like don't be foolish. Don't let this haunt your entire life. Move on. She wants them to move on. She's got this. She's like, tell them I've got this in my hand. It's been taken care of. And I feel like there's divine energy here. I feel like the divine laws have taken care of this. That, she's in a really good space here and they don't need to spend any amount. I'm not telling them to give up if they still think this person's alive. I'm not saying that at all. This is just a tarot reading for entertainment purposes only. This is not based on factual evidence. But this is what I'm getting from the cards, and you might offer your insights. I think she wants her boys to have peace of mind. They don't like the fact that they don't know who he is. He's gone. See, she's holding the hand of somebody, but look at what's in her hand. Look what's in her hand. A sword. So on the other side, she's either waiting or she's ready. She's ready. I mean, it's, like, I've been waiting for you type of thing. And, oh, that would be weird if she had a plan. Oh, wouldn't that be weird? He might have had a plan for me while I was on Earth, but guess what? Now I got a plan for him in the spirit world. Hey, dude, welcome over. It seems weird. But this is the Hermit. We evolve. We evolve when we pass away. We evolve to a higher realm, except if we're like, I feel like she's saying, if we're horrible people, they don't get to evolve. The horrible people don't evolve on the other side. That's what I feel like this message is. That the horrible people don't get to evolve. Yeah, when they go up, and this is the moon. So it's deception. In other words, if this person left the planet, there is a different place. There's a different vibratory state for them. So this is the Three of Cups. She's like, I am in a good place. I feel like she could be with, family here. This is like celebrating. We're all having a good time over here. And that would be, this again, she's showing that horrible event. So right now, I'm going to go back to the tarot cards and I'm going to say, what's a final thought here? Because this person's above the planet. These are the two people in spirit. And what's the final thing that we have to know about this? What's the final card? Let's do one final card. And here it is. We might be confused down here. This is the confused card. We might wonder, who this person is. How could they do this? There's still a lot of confusion and questions about this case. But the Ace of Pentacles is that it ended up being the wrong timing. This is an hourglass in here. He just happened to be the wrong timing of things. So the sequence of events were unfortunate because it was the wrong timing. And then it led to the path of her going to the other side. I think she's got regrets about answering the ad, but she's made peace now. And I just feel like the message is that this person didn't get away with it, that there was some kind of a, I don't know what to say it, some kind of for every action, there's a reaction. I don't like the word karma, but for every action is a reaction. And I feel like this person got the reaction. This person who did this somehow got she feels like justice was served. So this is the message for the child, is that she feels like justice has been served. So, wow. I want to just ask, though, if at some point in the future, will they discover who this was? Is it at some point in the future, will they discover who did this crime? Will they discover it? Oops, one card flipped. Yes, there's a plan. They will. There's a plan. They've put together a plan. They've put together information, and it feels like at some point, it feels like they will figure this out. But it's, I'm just thankful that she's in a good place now. And wow, this was horrific. This was absolutely horrific. This woman never got to finish raising her children. It's tragic. All right. If you saw anything in the cards that you think that you want to comment about, I welcome all comments on my page as long as they're not hateful. So thank you and have a good day, and thanks for stopping by.